everyone, and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where I was doing my regular nightly ritual, combing through the replays and checking out some games, and I happened to actually live spectate this match right here. Doesn't mean I've spoiled who I will know who will win, but it was such a cool match, and it was so back and forth that I wanted to show it to you guys because it really did look pretty cool. So, without further ado, our blue team leader, who is sprinting off into the distance here, starting with... My goodness, starting with a metal extractor into a metal storage and then into another metal extractor. Are we planning on finishing this, or is this just like a... I guess we don't have to, right? We can dump it into the metal extractor and then this will just drop the metal back into our bank account eventually over time. Anyways, unique way not to stall right there. It's, of course, none other than Zhao. Of course, coming out with these ridiculous strategies, including building temporary metal storages just to try and leak a little less metal. The blue commander, clocking in at 52 open skill and a tournament winner, rocking that Viking hat as a core commander, going to be showing us what they've got. Going to be going up against, which is one of the reasons why I thought this match would be so entertaining, is the red commander. It's going to be Reconciliation, which is not a name that I recognize, maybe a renamed player at 48 open skill and a tournament winner. Definitely someone who knows the game well, but just not a name that I recognize immediately. One of those things about Bar, you can change your name basically whenever you want, so for a commentator like myself, it's a little bit difficult to keep track, I won't lie, but that is your right. Reconciliation here with a Viking helmet as well as a golden medal right there, the three shove golden medal right there, going to represent, I believe, a different tournament. So this is a multi-tournament winner right here, the red commander. Cool. Now the map we're playing on today, it's a map that goes by the name of Sector 318C version 1.0, nailed it on the very first attempt. And it's a very cool map. It's got a lot of interesting features about it that make it really fun, but probably my favorite and the most prominent of which is that it's unbalanced. So, the team on the left-hand side here, it's going to be the red team in this game, is going to only have 2 commanders fighting up into these hillsides right here against 3 commanders. You can see we have 3 here versus 2 here. Means, of course, that it's going to be an unfair matchup right now for a party as well as Reconciliation. And likewise, on the southern side, of course, mirrored in the red team's favor on the southern side is 3 versus 2 as well. So, kind of an interesting change of styles, right? Rather than a perfectly balanced match and you just try and see which lane is winning the most and push that one in, this one heavily depends on what the top and bottom commanders can do, while the midsections brawl it out over these metal extractors, including a very powerful 3.0 metal extractor right there in the middle, and some very nice 2.0s and 1.8s in the midsection there and around as well. Already the aggression is high. These top-level players, these quote-unquote pro-level players, as we watch them get started, they really start the match with a bang. They don't waste any time getting into the action here, and as you can see, immediately we've got some grunts coming across the map. Nice play right there from the Shuriken-wielding commander Misho, the hot pink commander at 27 open skill. Gotta paralyze those drones, or those grunts rather, and allow them to be blasted apart. Meanwhile, not a terrible trade right here for the tan commander. Manages to defend against some of those seafoam green grunts, but we do have 2 more on the way. And of course, with the constructor here, it's going to be paramount that we can defend against these grunts from sniping that con, or at the very least, making sure that they can't do much damage to it. It's a brutal back and forth battle right here. The grunts down to just 5% HP at the very end of that battle, but it will be the tank commander, not Fates, who actually comes out on top right there, so that's good to see. Grunts getting a lovely surround over here on the right-hand side as well, on the northern right-hand side, as Grump Duffy does manage to move forward here with these grunts and start putting on some pressure. Now we've sent one con to go ahead and build this geothermal, which I like to see because it really doesn't drain your economy all too badly, but also it means that in 2 to 3, sometimes 4 minutes, you're going to have that 300 energy income right about the time that you're ready to start thinking about T2. You're going to start thinking about seeing that geothermal come up and online, and that obviously gives you a nice advantage when you're dealing with the sort of energy scaling and Beyond Our Reason. The geo is the easiest, it's the most efficient geo scaling in the game. This is a cool play that I like. So you can see here, what Duffy has done is gone ahead and moved one of the construction turrets forward in order to eat up the laboratory and the backline. So this is a really cheeky play here, but Duffy is actually using that production bonus, the defense bonus that I would normally, normally you only get that when an enemy is pushing into your base and your units are coming out, leveraging that into an offensive advantage right here by moving the production forward. Now obviously this creates a huge threat, because if a party does scout this, and I don't think he does, Yeah, party doesn't see that this lab is forward right here, but if they did, then of course they might be able to move their commander forward, degun down that laboratory, and then suddenly there's no production in the back line or the front line. And that gives a tremendous advantage to the brown commander. But not going to be the case here, as now those aggravators are on the front and they're blasting down the LOTs, and a party is forced backwards, and suddenly more and more production has come up on the front line. Very cool. High ground going to be a battle of Rocketeers versus those thugs. We've got an Armada commander versus a Corps commander, and this is basically exactly what I expect to see when it goes to Corps versus Arm. Those Rocketeers for Armada are quite powerful, and of course the thugs just have so much HP that they're really fortifiable defense on the front lines. They're very easy to make a whole bunch of and keep well repaired, and you can basically push infinitely because repairing them is so easy. As you can see, Zhao repairing these with not only the commander, but a couple of res bots here as well. I love to see it. Meanwhile, aggression is high on the southern side. Yellow commander Irish Stud 14 pushing forward with a couple of those aggravators. We do have some LLTs up and running, which of course are always quite nice for dealing. How much damage do those do? Was that 4% HP for one of those missiles? Wow. You know what? I underestimated the power of those missile trucks. I really thought that was closer to 2% HP against one of those medium tanks, but it was actually 4%. I may have undervalued the power of the missile trucks. Still, though, this is this is still a tricky situation right here for the Lavender commander, Shez, as now we have medium tanks, T1 bots, and a commander all pushing towards this base. It's going to take immediate corrective action from the entire team in order to solve this issue, but things are not looking great. Oh, on the southern side either. I missed it, but 2 commanders went down. Obviously a trade right there, as the tan and seafoam green commanders have gone down, but the reclaim goes largely in favor here of the tan commander, if not entirely in favor of the tan commander. Means, of course, that going ahead and building a whole bunch of eco is going to be powerful, but yeah, there it is. The T2 lab is also another obvious option. Now, this is interesting because typically this tech roll would be given to the orange commander, but instead it's going to go to the tan commander because, of course, that front line was won so readily. It does mean, though, that we need to force that T2 out as quick as possible, and one of the ways you can do that is by eating up these injured T1 units. Another commander trade over here, by the way. Actually, not a trade, just a kill. The yellow commander goes down, but takes out a huge portion of the lavender forces. In fact, all of the lavender forces? Yeah, it looks like every lavender tank does go down, and now this yellow army that backed off from that explosion will suddenly be marching in, sacrificing the comm as a nuclear bomb to take out the entire base right here of Shen's. Oh, no micro. Oh, a little bit of micro. No micro from Shen's, and that commander goes down, taking with it the laboratory, the metal extractors, and all the rest of it within a gigantic radius. The thugs that were sent over as reinforcements, donated reinforcements here from the teammate, also going down as the shuriken is shot out of the sky by the anti-air missiles packed within those Lasher missile trucks. All right. Very, very nice. Meanwhile, red commander goes down on the northern side. The blue comes out, not pulling his foot off the gas right there. Another dead set of commanders left, right, and center. These comms are going down. 'Tis that time in the game where commanders start to trade out and lose their value. As T2 rolls out to the field, the commander loses its value quite quickly because those T2 units are so effective at taking down one commander. Are commanders T1? Commanders are simultaneously T1 and T3 at the same time. I don't know. That's a tricky question. That's a philosophical question right there. Grunt's holding out against the massive thugs moving forward right here. Actually not doing a bad job. In a weird way, grunts and pawns can counter thugs and maces. It's just a numbers game. The more pawns and grunts you have, the better they scale because of that flanking bonus, and you can turn that into a huge advantage later on. Blue forces continuing to push inwards towards the base right here, targeting down the build power, which is always good to see. One of those things about the top tier players is their micro is always on point, even if the macro tends to slip. That's one of those things that, you know, every bar player is guilty of, but typically the macro is almost always on point. So you can see here, Zhao focusing down the constructors so that this tower can't get repaired, and then blasting down the constructor and the units and all the rest of it. And just like that, the red column taps out of this game. Brown commander not much better off here, as you can see that con turret about to fall. Rocket bots connecting here, well, mostly with friendly units. But there we go. Duffy pushes into the base and will start claiming those metal extractors, as well as blasting apart the wind turbines and all the rest of that, of course. And just like that, we've got ourselves the yin-yang match, as predicted, as played out by this game, except, of course, that we do have a holdout over here. Okay. The Seafoam Green Commander actually holding out against all odds, beyond all reason, has managed to hold out in this corner, has a Twin Guard up and running, and has a second on the way. And these are quite powerful, actually. They can do quite a good amount of damage to these units creeping forward. They have a sturdy amount of health, and they deal a decent enough amount of damage that they can be quite threatening. And just like that, Just like that, the Maroon Commander is jumped on by a whole bunch of rocket bots and plasma bots, and that's never a good situation. When those are in your backline, you know something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. As I'm sure the Maroon Commander is unhappy to check back. Mr. Pickles is unhappy, what a name, to check back and see that the entire base has been devastated. Resbots are available here, so using those, to reclaim all the metal is going to be an obvious choice here. And we do have a T2 laboratory producing some of those fiends as we speak in order to try and burn down these bases a little bit quicker here. Loads of reclaim available right here. Irish Stud 14 doesn't have any resbots to reclaim all this, so it is a little bit going to waste. At the very least, the commander can pull most of that back to the backline here, but there's also not really the energy economy for it. Yeah, we sort of slacked on the energy scaling, and you can see just how dangerous that is now suddenly. Certainly something that I'm extremely, what was the word for it? Prone to do. I fail to scale the E economy all the time. It's probably the hardest aspect of Beyond All Reason, at least as far as the eco is concerned anyways. Nice bombing run right here. Takes out a whole bunch of wind turbines. Eventually shot down by the green fighters, so that is quite nice, but still, I don't know. Yeah, taking out basically an entire base is going to make those bombers justified. More commanders dying all over here. We have twin guards coming up left, right, and center for the pink commander, but doesn't have the energy to actually sustain their laser fire. So with all that metal dumped into those twin guards, we actually don't really have much of a use for them. And just like that, the fiends and grunts and all the rest of it are going to push forward into the pink base as well. Nicely done here. This hold down here seems to have made this game. Aikatsu, the Seafoam Green Commander, has managed to hold out against all odds. This little base, the little base that could. I love to see it. Yeah, we've got the forces moving in right here, and Duffy is just on a roll. There are the resbots eating up all these laboratories. And of course, you can see using the metal from these laboratories to fund those T2 units now streaming out of the laboratories and trading so ridiculously efficiently here against a whole bunch of the red units. This is what I love to see about the pro play. It is so quick, and it doesn't give us those long, epic T3 battles, right? But it definitely shows us that the upper levels of gameplay skill are still yet to be achieved as we sort of veer towards the fastest possible speed run of Beyond All Reason 8v8 games possible. Definitely awesome to see Duffy's commander right here. Okay. Commander goes down, but obviously blowing up that base is still super inconvenient right there for the orange commander. We do have a couple of stray units pushing forward, but for the most part, this attack has petered out, and you can see the difference here is all in the reclaim. Idle Resbot right here could have had, oh, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 metal worth of a snack right now. Might have been the difference needed to funnel metal back into this base and actually get these T2 units out that were needed in order to clean this mess up. Not the case, though, and just like that, the more and more of the red team is throwing in the towel here. We have T2 units swarming across the backline, burning down those wind turbines nicely placed together. And of course, that's going to mean that the energy economy plummets right here as the blue team pulls into an over 100% advantage in both the metal and the energy. No doubt in large part because of the reclaim, but also because of this nice metal expansion right here from the blue team. But there we go. The red team folds as the blue team manages to claim a rapid victory in under 13 minutes in this game of Beyond All Reason. I know it was a quick one, but let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this map, because I absolutely love it. The way that the pros play this map versus the way that noobs play this map, noobs like yourself and I, it is something to behold. So thank you a ton for watching, and if you care to join me, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. You can also check out the Discord channel, which is always linked down there as well, if you're browsing and perusing. And I hope to see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, Commanders.